Okay, I had to get everything situated. Hi, everybody. Hello. Welcome to another powerful conversation. This is my series where I get to interview powerful people in their industry. I'm so lucky that in this online space, I have had the opportunity and men. And so Kassie is she's incredible and a total powerhouse. And we're going to have a conversation with her today. So I think she's coming on. Yay!
Hi,
Hi,
Vic.
friend. Hi, friend.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
So good.
I loved that green romper.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it
So
was
comfortable.
so
I'm trying to
comfortable.
buy clothes that I will wear after pregnancy too.
Right.
It can be
I love that. Hi,
hard to do
Shauna.
that.
Yeah, totally. Well, you can also, if you find a good tailor, just get some things taken in, whatever. We're
Totally.
resourceful. Okay,
Totally.
so I'm gonna just give a little intro and then you and I are gonna chat. So I started this series, Powerful Conversations with Powerful People, because I just realized I have a network of incredible men and women who are making a real impact and a real change. But what we see too is what they're doing outwardly, and we don't really know what it took to get there. And so, what were the powerful moves? Or you're a mom of three, about to be four. So I'm going to just ask you so many questions because we want to behind the scenes get to know you and how you became the powerful, influential, just high impact, not just person in your industry, but also wife and mom, because I just admire how you do life. So introduce yourself and let us know who you are before I start rapid firing.
Well, that is like so big to live up to. I love it. So many times you feel so small, right? So, I appreciate that. That makes me feel on top of the world. I am Dr. Kassie DeWitt. I'm a doctor of occupational therapy. I specialize in pelvic floor rehabilitation. So my platform is based on teaching women how to stop leaking urine without medication and surgery. And so that stems from my past experiences. And I feel like if you can pull from your past experiences and turn them into such positive, impactful career or um, volunteer work, whatever you want to do,
Yeah.
it makes that experience like what I went through as a teenager. I am so grateful for that experience because now I get to do all the things that I get to do every single day, which is my dream.
Okay, I love that because this is a behind the scenes thing, turning your pain into power.
Mhm.
Just the little that you've shared with me about what that journey was like as a teenager. I mean, when we think of people leaking urine or having pelvic floors, what we're thinking of, I'm thinking anyways, of this demographic that's much older, that's had kids. And so it's like, there's so much shame around that. And for you to come out, like we've laughed, you're like, Sophie, you have like business and breath work and Lexi has hair. And you're like, and I got the pee. You know what I mean? I got the
Yes, your guys' brands are just so beautiful. And I'm like, every single thing I have's name has the word urine in it. But that's
Yeah.
okay. That is my journey and it's all the things, right?
Right. But it's important because I think for you to have such a firsthand account, there's a lot of people that regurgitate education versus firsthand knowledge. So did you know tell me about your career journey? Were you like, okay, this is something I really struggled with, so I'm going to take this path?
No, no, not at all. The thing that triggered, and I think one of the coolest ways you and I have connected, again, something so painful, is I lost my mother. And I lost her to a stroke. And so I was in a different business world doing medical sales. I've always loved healthcare. I've always loved the way the body works. Um, but I also love sales and I like impacting the world with sales. And so, and then my mom got sick and that flipped everything upside down for me. As you know, it's completely life changing. Watching the most powerful woman you've ever met in your entire life, the good, the bad, the ugly, all the things, have her independence and health ripped away from her. It just was like, wait a minute. I'm not supposed to be where I'm at right now.
Mm,
And that led me into going back to school, getting my doctorate. And I really thought I was going to focus on neuro and rehabbing neuro because my mom had this massive stroke and cancer and all the things. And then it just was like this pull from the universe that was like, you're really good at that, but you are going to be even way better at that. And so just listening to the cues um, has been incredible, an incredible experience. So I took that pain from my mom,
mm,
and it was honestly a little too close. I don't know if I could have done it well.
yeah.
I always say there's probably someone who could do it a tad bit better than me when your heart's not totally in it.
Hmm.
Or maybe you're too close to the situation or it's too emotional. So I got to pivot to pelvic floor, and that is absolutely my calling. I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah, and then you had experience with it too. It
Absolutely.
was
Yeah.
I think that's so true with success. It's like that Steve Jobs quote, you can't, or the speech that he gave, you can't connect the dots until you look back. And it's
Hmm.
like, and then you look back and you're like, wow,
Yeah.
I couldn't have planned that if I tried,
Right.
right?
It helps with healing too. Like it just the when something traumatic happens, whichever way you go, and you are able to kind of pull that into good and impact others' lives, that helps you so much with the healing process too. Not that you have to do your career has to be based on pain and
Sure.
sorrow and drama, anything like that. But for me, that's really what pivoted me into the place I'm at now, where I'm successful and I'm home with my kids and I'm managing these things that I absolutely love doing.
Yeah, I love that. And I agree. I don't think, because I work with a lot of people that have different careers and we're all motivated by
Yeah,
different things.
right.
But I think people that have a real servant's heart, but also like money, you know what I mean? Like there's
Yeah,
just no shame in
yeah,
that. That's what I hear. It's
absolutely.
like, I like sales, which is like, I like money.
Hmm.
And I also like serving. And it's like when you can combine those
Hmm.
and be in your purpose, those are the most impactful, influential people because they have like a real burning in their gut. They're not just like out selling med supplies. They're like, this is a personal story for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it that Shauna is a PT. And I think part of how I made the navigational pull to online was due to how I was limited in my service in the hospital or the clinics. And when you're limited and you don't feel like you can serve as much as you like, whether that's partly was to my family, partly that was to I wanted to reach more women. I knew that I could reach more women. And so when you're so sheltered into, a box, it makes it really difficult to see your true purpose too.
Yeah. Let's talk about that because I think a lot of women have these desires and they also get put into boxes
Hmm.
and then they get really excuse me, really scared to leave the box,
Yeah.
leave the tradition, right?
Hmm.
And so talking about a power move, and I just know your personality, but I'm going to hear it from you. Was it just like a no more moment where you
Hmm.
just like, I'm out of here, or was it just slowly building? And then what gave you the courage to say, you know what, I don't need this traditional medical system. I have my degree.
Hmm.
I feel really confident in my ability to help. Like, what was that process like for you? And where did you find the courage to do that?
Yeah. So I think I remember telling my husband so vividly, I just want to go to work and come home. I just want to go to work and come home. I don't want to deal with anything else, but I'm going to do my job. I'm going to come home. And that is what I want. And as soon as I said those words out loud, I was like, no, that is not what you want. You want to serve and help and impact your family and your friend and your patients. But I worked during COVID
Mm,
and I saw a different in the hospital. So you during that time you had to kind of navigate pelvic floor was not top priority. So you are delivering food trays and you're doing whatever you can to help in the hospital. And I just felt this yuckiness in
mhm,
that, and nothing political, nothing like that. It was just so much work. so much fear, so many things of that was happening in the medical system that I was like, oh, I don't love this anymore. And that will absolutely impact how you serve others. And so
Mm.
knowing that, you have to make that transition. And so I think also, Sophie, and I know you feel this so wholeheartedly, is this um thought around safety. Like if you work for someone else, like especially at hospital, like I am as safe as they come. I have a 401k, I have PTO and all of I'm getting chills. Like the thought of that, I'm just like, no, don't do that to me. Don't put me in that box because there
Yeah.
is nothing more safe than my business. Like
Yeah.
nobody's going to serve me as well as my business. I'm not asking anybody to take time off. That was another big shift is we had to come up and work these holidays and um you have to ask for permission to like go to your child's Halloween
Yeah.
parade.
And you were
And I was
like,
like,
I'm not
I'm
doing
not
that.
doing that. You're not
Yeah.
asking. I'm not asking. So that it was just like I want to make more money. I want to not ask permission, and I know I can serve so many more people without the restrictions of that hospital.
I love that so much. And it just is a testament to, I think, because when we have that like no more moment, like I'm done with COVID, I want it, you have these beautiful babies. When you're, that again, I'm just the like, queen of quotes and analogies, this, but it's like when the pain of, whatever, staying the same is greater than the pain of change, you pivot and you make that change. And that's what makes you a powerful person. And I think that that's what's also so powerful about your work is it's like you, not just with pelvic floor, but you can, really look at women and go, you can do this.
Yeah,
Like your body is strong,
yeah,
your spirit is strong, like the power that women possess, like you're had three babies. You know what I
yeah,
mean? I think you just kind of embody this, like, no, this is not a lifelong sentence for you.
yeah. I am definitely a cheerleader from the depths of my soul in terms of feeling like women are so incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
We create an entire human being, and then somebody tells us that we have to live this certain way for the rest of our lives. Our bodies aren't strong enough, they're not capable enough, and we believe it. We're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. This was told to me at 16 years old. Like, this is just part of womanhood. And I'm like, I can't even vote yet, barely got a driver's license, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I got to spend the next 90 years dealing with pads and by then probably diapers and not doing the things I love doing, but my body's capable of like making a human and that doesn't even matter if that's on your trajectory or not. The human body is so incredible. So this whole thought and narrative around we can't do these things that I just can't get into.
Yeah. You and I are so similar that way
Yeah.
because once you've like slayed enough dragons, you're like, okay, just come on, like we'll figure it out, but like
Yeah.
we've got this.
Yeah. And also being around other women who do incredibly powerful things. Like
Mhm.
my trauma looks a lot different than the thousands of patients that I have seen. And I get to treat now women all over the world and different circumstances, different levels of trauma, different levels of dysfunction, and they all just kill it. They just like do so well. And it has nothing to do with mine is like this resource they have, but these women pull in their strength and power, and they fix what they were told they could never fix. They could never do it without medication or surgery. And so the women that you surround yourself really, I think, drive your power too.
Yeah, I love that. I recently heard, I was listening to a podcast and she said, you rise to the level of your environment, not your
Mm.
goals.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's like, soon as you start, because it just takes possibility. It's
yeah,
like just seeing somebody else go, and maybe they were worse off than you, and they're doing better,
yeah,
right? And you're like, oh, well, then I have no, not I don't want to say excuse, but like my story cannot be as powerful if that story is more powerful
yeah.
than mine,
Right, right.
right?
And I 1000% agree. And I just see my VA is on and Meg, and she like, you surround yourself with the people you serve. You surround yourself
Mhm.
with people who make you better. You surround yourself with people who absolutely believe in your mission, makes one of those. So it's like it's just incredibly powerful, and we all have such different circumstances, different stories, but then there's this underlying connection between, I call them my heartstrings, with my clients, that you just build this heartstring with one another,
Yeah.
right? Like when you're around these women, like I'm connected to you, I'm connected to Meg, I'm connected to Michelle, I'm connected to all these women that support your mission, encourage you, and then you're connected to everybody you get to serve. It's like incredibly powerful.
Yeah, I love that. Let's talk a little bit about surrounding ourselves because as online entrepreneurs,
That's
and
what
I
I
think,
mean.
and as women that just consume content online, like we can even just take the entrepreneur out of it, but
Yeah,
whatever.
right.
It's like, I want to hear from you. What is the importance of really finding people that align with your values, that align with your mission, really giving yourself the permission to unlearn, unfollow, what are all your beliefs around that?
Oh man, it's changed so dramatically since I started in business. I don't know if yours, I mean, you started way many years before me, and but I have these thoughts around needing approval, being a people pleaser, being enough, what my level of success looks like. And the people you grow up with not necessarily always have that same connection. And so it felt extremely lonely when I first
Mm,
started. And how was I going to find people um, that were there? And I don't want to let go of anybody that isn't there either, you know? And so it was such a cool experience when I went to my first mastermind, and I was like, oh my gosh, these people, like like I'm getting chills from it, because I just remember being in the room and knowing that I feel so safe here. I
yeah,
feel so successful here. I
yeah.
feel so in alignment with everybody who's here, and just feeling that energy. And that was in person. And then I got to be in a mastermind, with you and Michelle and Lexi and Helen. And it's just like, you just feel so supported and loved and encouraged. And you can feel it instantly. That energy is just like, wow.
Yeah.
And then you hear what they're doing with their business. It has nothing to do with your business, and you have these ideas, and the creativity just explodes. And it's so fun. It's like meeting your new best friends all over again.
Yeah.
And it's just really, it's a cool experience. But you also can be around people and you're like, you're totally not my vibe, and
Yeah.
that's okay. I'm
And
cool with
that's
that.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that too. I've been in a lot of different online programs. So, but different from you, right? I got into coaching when I was 23, or got coached, and real estate, and kind of like went to seminars, all of those things, and then pivoted into the online space and started coaching business owners and doing breath work with them. But what I have learned is if it doesn't feel right, it doesn't matter the level of success of the mentor or the room. You will not get what you need at the level that you think you will by just sitting in resistance.
Yeah.
Like, there's other people that are just as successful. The room is going to be welcoming you, clapping for you, and
Yeah.
that has been like, that's something that I love so much about Michelle's space. And when I talk about the women in there, I'm like, they send me messages like how you doing?
Yeah.
Like, and we care. And
Yeah.
and that lets you know on this entrepreneurial journey, you're not alone, right?
Right.
Like, you can keep doing this.
Yeah, because I think so much when you're starting a business or you're making changes in your life, the fear factor can be debilitating. And I love the word resistance, because any kind of resistance or confrontation, I would immediately like lock up and, oh, I don't want that. It doesn't feel good. I don't like that resistance feeling. And now I'm like, why do I feel that
Yeah.
way? Like, what is it? Like, how can I dissect it down? And with each thought I give to myself, it's like another level of power, another
Mm-hmm.
level of empowerment. And that just again allows me to show up much better, because I think we are taught in this society so much like, don't go against the grain. That resistance is there for a
Yeah,
reason.
be a good
Fear is
girl. Yeah, follow the
fear is
rules.
so scary. Stay away from it. And it's like so different, because without the fear, I haven't been able to overcome that fear to get to the next level of fear. And all of that is just shows strength and it's empowering. And I'm still so fearful every single day in my business. What am I doing? Is it good enough? Am I good enough? Am
Yeah,
I, like, am I
totally.
meditating enough? Am I
Should
reading
I
enough? Am I breathing
journal? Oh
enough?
my gosh, what does that comment mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're totally missing my point. Is that my fault? Is that their fault? Is there a fault to be had? Like, there's so
yeah,
many levels. But it's also super exciting and fun because you get to do what you like. If you want to sit in that resistance and just feel that fear, you will physically feel it, mentally feel it, or you can dissect it down. That's why I love breathing and love what you do. And I think it's critical for anybody, but your ideal client for sure is learning how to breathe into things, dissect them down, become self-aware, and look at resistance as a growing point for sure.
for sure. Okay, I want to pivot
Okay.
because I know a lot of your audience are moms,
Mm-hmm.
and I have just sat in awe of you. Like when you send us pictures and like you have your packing to go on a trip, and I'm like, I don't think they could fit one more thing around those little babies, and they're
Right.
all in the back
Yeah.
with their yeah. And how have you? What were like the powerful moves that you made to make sure that you could prioritize your kiddos as you've been growing?
I think one of the most important things is realizing I have childhood beliefs that are my parents' stories that I don't um that doesn't mean that's my story. And so oftentimes and every day I think, am I being good enough for them? Am I showing up for them? If I don't make a sale, am I going to be able to provide for them? And all of that comes from my parents did the absolute best they could and they were wonderful. They are wonderful people. Um, but that's their story. And so once one is having someone who looks at me every day and knows my love language and says, I think you're like, he just did it. My husband, I was getting dressed. He was taking him to the pool. He's now retired. And I run the business and it's he knows I need to be told that I am doing good and that the kids are, see what I'm doing and it's so powerful for them. And so just being cognizant of knowing that what's your story, what's your parents' story, what are you doing for your babies and how can you improve? And are you um like for me, I get really upset when I like they're at the pool right now, but I have a lot of work to do. So there's always those moments where you're like, are you being present enough? Are you doing enough? Do they know how much you're doing? And I know one day they'll look at me and be like, my mom is a badass bitch
Yeah,
because she is like killing it in the business world.
totally.
And we have all the things we have because of my mom and dad's relationship first and then how well she ran her business and impacted others. So I think just constant reminder. And on days where I feel really yucky about my parenting, I'm like, okay, why do I feel this way? I'm always
That's the
asking
question.
that question, like, does it have anything to do with my my parenting skills, or does it have to do with a comment that I read on my reel that happened 5 days ago? Right?
Yeah.
So I know in my heart I'm a good mom. I love my kids. I give them experiences that I know that they are so grateful for and broaden their minds and all the things. And my presence is absolutely known to them. And I just tell myself and I journal that and I talk to my children about it. So,
I love that.
yeah.
Yeah. And what a good, like, I'm like, I want to be like Cassie when I grow up. No, I'm kidding. But it's just like having a husband that knows your love language,
Hmm.
that has your back. So often, a lot of people that hire me that are, established and successful and did everything right, they they bought into a mold and model,
Yeah.
and then they got and now they've got a lot of overhead, they've got a lot of life that they've built, and they're like, we have Christ, we have the like a fire alarm going off, and I'm walking around as if nothing's happening, and my fire alarm's going off, and it's like, I love that you're just such a beautiful representation of this is who I am. My husband knows how to support me. My kiddos know that I love them. I'm creating a future not just for me, but for them.
Right.
Just says a lot about, but I can tell you've done a lot of work around it.
Oh, years. Thousands of pages of books, thousands of dollars in therapy, so much time on, and I know you know this too, Sophie, because I've had the honor of watching even you go, transition through very difficult things in your life. And I feel that it's just it doesn't happen. My husband wasn't always super supportive. In fact, when I told him I wanted to start a business, he was working for Homeland Security. I didn't want to go back to work at the hospital. I just received my doctorate degree. We're having all these voices from our parents and our siblings and our friends being like, she is nuts. She's giving up all these things. And me and him had to like block out all the sound and really dive into each other. And so like learning together how to do this together was extremely important. It has not always been like, this beautiful, easy, right? Like
Yeah.
I am, when you're an entrepreneur, you're typically, being married to another entrepreneur, I think would be very difficult because there is one really strong, this like, I have to do it this way. And the other one is like a lot more flexible. And I have very little flexibility
Yeah.
in my body especially for my business. So, um, I think it's just all like you have to do part of business is doing so much work on yourself. And when I started thinking about building what I built, I did a mindset course because I knew in my bones I had a lot of things to work through in my
Oh,
mind.
yeah. I tell people, you want to be an entrepreneur, that's like a spiritual journey that you are going to meet parts of yourself but that's what's so cool
Yeah.
is it's like, I mean, when I let go of all my clients, you met me at such a unique time because I'm used to like, money's easy, clients are
Yeah.
easy, I do what I want. And then it was just like, I felt like I was out to sea, and one wave after another was just taking me underwater. And I was like, I'm going to drown
Mhm.
in this ocean that I used to surf. What
Mhm.
is happening? And,
And
and
what happened?
yeah, so, well, I went through a divorce, right? Moved three
Right.
states. My mom got sick all within 18 months, and
Yeah.
she passed away in 39. I came down here, took care of her, was her primary caregiver, passed away in 39 days, let go of all my clients. So I'm rebuilding my business. So it's like life, like the divorce was like, okay, this is my choice. And I didn't even have a chance to heal from that as I moved from Montana, my beautiful home. Every, from the outside looked like everything you could ever want and more, into my
Yeah.
dad's basement, going through a really hard divorce, starting to feel better, and then get that call about my mom and just went, I'm, and then going on the other side of that. But what I can tell you is all of those years of mindset, all of those years of building those other businesses or even building this one, it was like I could summons little by slowly with God's help, like, Sophie Jones, you will surf again.
Yeah.
You're going to get out of this. You're
Yeah.
going to get to shore for a while. You're going to rest. And it's like when you have that, when like you say you and your husband had to just go within each other.
Mm-hmm.
But once you've established that, it's kind of, that there's something inside of you that unless you've experienced that in entrepreneurship and that certainty, it's like, okay, I can weather some storms, but the bigger storms you weather, the more you're like, okay, whenever I get back on that surfboard, I'm getting an Olympic gold medal. So just watch out,
Oh yeah. That's what I meant by you felt like you were drowning and now you're already up on your board again. Like,
Yeah.
what a cool analogy in terms of the waves are going to knock you down. There's not a surfer that stays on their board
Yeah.
for the rest of their life. You are and will get knocked down by those waves. And it's just how you learn to cope and what strategies, resources you have in your toolbox. Creating a business, I don't know one business owner who has not done extensive work on their coping strategies, their skills, their resources, learning from others. If I didn't have the ability to learn from others, if I was like blocked off to it, which my personality, I could have seen me going that route. Like, I'm the best, I can do it, I'm going to do it my way. And then you're like either smacked in the
Yeah.
face and quit, or you're smacked in the face and you're like, you better learn, you know? So
Yeah.
having that ability to be self-aware of, I know this is a really hard time. I can't understand all the reasoning behind it, but I'm getting up on my surfboard because I know what I am meant to do is just so incredible.
Yeah. And I think too is it's like my brain works in analogies. So I'll tell my clients, hey, you can go sit on the bench. I don't care if you go get a hot dog, but you just don't get to leave the arena.
Yeah,
Like,
I love that. I love
period. Like,
analogies too.
I don't care what, but you event, like, I get it. Like, the ball hit you in your face. You got, like, I get all of that. But that's what's so cool about being a business owner and entrepreneur when you really have it in your spirit.
Yeah.
Is it's like you don't even need to tell someone that. They're like, I'll be back.
Yeah.
I need a second,
Yeah.
but I'm coming back,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. I always end with business, the ebbs and flow of business. It's like this dopamine hit down, boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom, boom. And learning to ride those waves without it
Personalizing it.
destroying you,
Hmm.
you know, that is, I'm waiting for that lesson. I'm like, when is that gonna go away? But then I think, oh my gosh, I'm so much better than I was a year ago, where it would have
Yeah.
destroyed me for a week. Now I'm like, okay, a couple hours, let me sulk for a second. And then I'm like, what can I do? How
Yeah.
can I make this better? Yeah.
Yes, stay in solution. Okay, so I want to we're going to come to the end here because I value your time and I know you got stuff going on. But for, I think just, I was going to ask you a question, but I'm not going to. I'm going to leave it open ended. If you were to give anyone any type of advice, whether that's with, their pelvic floor, whether that's as a mom, maybe whether that's as an entrepreneur, as a woman, what do you want your legacy or what do you want that piece of advice today in your life to be for somebody?
I I think honestly, because of the women I've treated my whole career and who I was whenever I had pelvic floor dysfunction, and now as a business owner, and just seeing being surrounded by women is, don't underestimate your capabilities. Like, you're not
Man,
stuck, you're not um
victim.
you're victim. Oh, that's a big one. I'm like, girl, we are not victims in here, because that does nothing for us. And I always tell my patients, I'm like, don't just think about yourself sitting in this chair right now. Like, think about yourself in 20, 30, 40, 50 years. What do you want to be doing then?
Yeah,
Like, are we still a victim? Have we still let people victimize us? Have we still told ourselves that we aren't capable of things? Or have you totally changed the narrative? Because when you change the narrative, even if you don't have children, people are watching and they say, she is a bad mama jamma, and that is awesome. And that's, it's inspiring and it's encouraging and it's supporting to others. So I just feel like, don't ever water yourself down. Anything that is hard to learn is one of the greatest lessons. Things that are really painful are some of the greatest lessons you'll ever be tested with. And then back on those situations and be like, damn, I totally rocked that situation. I can do this. Like, I'm totally capable of doing this.
yes,
Yeah.
amen.
Oh yeah. I was a cheerleader for 1 year in high school, and
Me
I think I
too.
should have made it a career because I loved it.
I know. I'm the same way. I'm literally like, what? You got this. They're like,
Yeah.
really? I'm like, totally. And
And
they're like, but everything's on fire. I'm like, great, burn it down.
burn it
Like,
down, build it back up. That was all meant to
yeah.
happen. Like, that fire was supposed to go. It's how we learn to put it out is what is. So I use analogies too so much because I talk about urinary urgency and pain, and I'm like, okay, like, when your body is going nuts and feeling like it's being chased by a bear, your bladder is acting like a 3-year-old throwing a tantrum, like how you cope with that and the
Yeah.
resources you pull in is so incredible. And I love women. Like I just love supporting women in business and pelvic floor and motherhood and all of it. It's so fun to be around other women.
Uh, okay, tell everyone that's not familiar with you in my audience how they can find you, what your main signature course is. Like, give us the deets.
Yeah, so I am, you can find me at Dr. Cassie DeWitt, OTD. One day I'll change it. Someone has my name and I just want it back. I want my name. So it'd be so much easier to be like, find me, Cassie DeWitt. Um, so I have a urine good company course and it teaches women how to stop leaking urine without medication or surgery. And I'm launching a membership next week, which is going to be super, super fun and cool. I cannot wait.
Okay.
And yeah, so that's where I'm
If you
at.
want to get the details pre-launch,
Yeah.
send Cassie a message.
Yeah. 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 I'm
Yeah.
the one who's in my DMs all the time. So you won't ever get anybody else answering any questions. It's ask away. Like nothing is TMI in my book. You can ask some funky questions. It does not bother me. And I am such a safe place. So my DMs are always open.
Okay, well, I have just loved this. We should just do this just
Yeah.
off screen regularly. I'm like, you're amazing. We need to do this more
I,
often.
I think one of the coolest things is when you become a business owner online is you don't get to meet these people very often in
Mhm.
person. But if we ever do, it will be
Oh,
magical and I cannot wait
I'm
for
gonna be
it.
Aunt Sophie. Like kids love me.
Yeah,
I'm
like
gonna like
no
have
doubt.
all of them hanging off me. You're gonna be like, how is this possible? I'm like,
And my husband's dream car is a Sprinter van,
yeah,
so we will have plenty of room for you. Not
okay,
your luggage, but
yeah.
you.
You get snacks.
You
That's all you get to bring.
yeah, yeah. Okay, Sophie, thank
Okay.
you for having me. I'm so honored. So thank you so
Oh, thanks for
okay.
coming. Bye bye.
Bye.